Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Donna Reagan. Our service leader today is our own Lori Biddeford. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church, Saco in Biddeford. We also want to welcome those joining us on YouTube. I encourage you to have a candle or a chalice to light when we light ours here in a few moments. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we are glad you're here with us today. The theme for the month of March is vulnerability. We invite you to carry that theme with you as you are with us today and into your daily life when you leave here today. We strive to be a green sanctuary. It gives roots and wings to our vision of a world where all people build for a sustainable future and make reverence, gratitude, and care for the living earth central to our lives. We want to acknowledge that our building sits on the land of the Wabanaki Confederation, which includes the Abenaki, Maliseet, Micmac, Passamaquoddy, and Penobscot nations. We invite you to take home the order of service for information and announcements, or you may leave it for recycling at the youth sanctuary. Our COVID guidelines are on the back page. And there will be not just a social hour, but a pop-up luncheon in the parish hall after the service today. Please join us. As I light our chalice this morning, please join us in the words of our covenant, which are in your order of service and printed on the wall.
This is our sacred promise, to gather together in peace, to seek truth
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to this place of caring, where we care for each other, the community, and the earth. Welcome to this place of knowledge, where we are curious, learning, and always growing. Welcome to this place of agency, where we turn our care and knowledge into action to steward our community in these walls and beyond. And now turn and stand if you're able and join me singing hymn number 149, Lift Your Voice and Sing.
That was a fun one.
Good morning, Paul. Good morning. Morning, Ben. Can't sing with this on right now.
This is the point in our service when we share and invite people to share what is in their hearts. Whether it is a great joy or a deep sorrow, it is not a time for announcements or political statements, but if you wish, come forward and light a candle. Tell us your name, if you'd like, and share your joy or sorrow with us, if you would choose to do so. Please hold the mic straight in front of you, parallel to the floor. Pretend you're a rock star, and speak clearly so you can be heard through the sound system.
I just got reminded that I'm a rock star. I'm Matt Gherkin, and I think about, Sonia and I have been coming here 21 years. It's very hard to believe that we've been here that long. And we've had our bumps in the road here, but I tell you, there is nothing like this family in our lives. Thank you so much.
Oh, sure, Matt, get me crying before I start crying. Okay. My name is Kathy, and I stand before you with mixed emotions and mixed news. So if you bear with me just for a few moments, I know I haven't been here for a very long time, and I miss you all greatly. I'm moving into the next part of my life, so the movers are actually coming to my house to take everything out of my house, and I'm signing the papers on Wednesday, so I'm closing a chapter that started over 6 years ago when Pat and I moved into that house, and we found this church, and I can't thank you all enough for the support that you gave the two of us while Pat was ill, and the support that you gave me after she died. So I want to thank you for all of that, because I do not know when I'll see you next. I thought this was going to be a joyous moment for me to move into my next life, which I've already started, a very happy next life. However, the universe said, surprise, you can't go yet. I am moving in with my elderly parents. So the sad news that I have is it's been an up and down few months. My dad was diagnosed last month with necrosis of the brain. If you do not know what that means, necrosis, wherever it is in your body, just starts killing off all the cells. So he's declining fast. So we know he's in the last little bit of his life, so I'm going to caretake for him. So a struggle by far. But the joy is that I've had you in my life, and I don't want to lose you in my life, so I don't know when I'll be back, but this is my chance to say goodbye for now. And thank you for everything, and would you please keep my family and my dad in your thoughts and your prayers? That would be great. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Ellie. I lit a candle of joy this morning. I do this once in a while just because I get overwhelmed by having the opportunity to lead the choir. And so I'm just grateful for those that show up every couple of weeks to sing with us. And it's a pickup choir, which means we don't have a lot of time to rehearse. And they really, they do the job. And I'm just so appreciative of what they bring to the congregation and to the service. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Tom. I want to reiterate what this fellow rock star said about the family here. It's a wonderful thing. We feel like we belong. And I want to acknowledge Maria's brother, Kellen, who passed away a few years back. And we all say prayers for him. And live in joy. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Janine, and I'm going to light a candle for my nephew, Ben. Ben has been inducted into the Tau Beta Phi Honor Society for Engineers, and he decided to change his major to radiology engineering and become a doctor in spite of his mother going, no, 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 you don't want to be a doctor like me.
Hi, this really isn't an announcement, I promise. But we have had for the last 4 weeks on Thursday evenings our Vespers services where we've been exploring one of our principles each week. And this last week was particularly interesting because this is the one about a responsible, I think about exactly how it's put, free and responsible, that's it. And so we were right in there with the freedom to believe what we want and all that. But when it came to what is a responsible search, it was there was kind of an in-depth discussion of what that might possibly mean. And so that's been wonderful, and I'm really grateful for the chance to do this with some of our folks. And it is Thursday nights at 7 in the parish hall if you are interested. And I also wanted to let you know, many of you know that I lost my kitty, my constant companion for 16 years back in January. And today we're picking up a new kitty up in Dixfield after the service. So, thanks.
light this final candle for the joys and sorrows left unspoken. And let us take a moment to hold what we have in our hearts.
Story for all ages this morning is called Maybe. You probably wondered when you saw the program. We might have, like maybe we're going to have that story. That's the name of the story. Maybe. Maybe you've read it. Maybe you've heard of it. Have you ever wondered why you are here? There are great illustrations in here, and I wish you could see them. You are the only you there ever has been or ever will be. You have so much to offer. Maybe you will invent something that no one has ever seen before. Maybe you will build things that reach high into the sky. Your life is yours. Try as many things as you can try. See as much as you can see. Wherever you go, take your hopes, pack your dreams, and never forget, it's only journeys where discoveries are made. Maybe you will help others to see the beauty in each day. Or maybe you will lift the cheering crowds onto their feet. Do everything with love. Follow your heart and see where it leads you. Maybe you are here to shine a light into places that have been dark for far too long. Maybe you will speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. Maybe you are here to help in ways that only you can. There will be struggles, there will be fears, and it won't always be easy. At times it will feel really hard, and you might make a mess of things. You may fall down, you may fail, but you will also get back up, and you'll rise a little stronger and a little tall, because there really is more inside you than you know. And this world needs your gifts, your talents, and your big ideas. And maybe you are just getting started. What if you are only scratching the surface of what you can do and who you can be? What if you have talents you haven't discovered yet? There's something powerful, even magical about you. You already have everything it takes to do big things. Maybe you have no idea just how good you really can be. And maybe you don't know how much you matter. But maybe, just maybe, the world has been waiting centuries for someone exactly like you. One thing is for sure, you are here. And because you are here, anything is possible.
Maybe the world has been waiting for all of us. I love that story. Please stand if you're able and join me in singing hymn number 292, If I Can Stop One Heart from Breaking.
Our meditation this morning is called Meditation for Those Who Feed the Children. Get comfortable in your seat. Sit up straight. Take a deep breath. Bring your attention to your breath. Follow each inhalation and exhalation in and out of your body. Let your belly become very soft and allow any hardness or tension or tiredness to melt away with each exhalation. Let go of all the trying held in your body. Now, let your imagination bring to you the reality of millions of men and women who take care of the children every day. Reach out with your mind's eye and see them. Mothers rising in the early morning and dressing sleepy young children. Fathers carrying small, tired ones home to bed. Strong arms rocking small bodies. Men and women driving or walking to factories and offices and fields to provide for their children. See what images come to you. Feel how, despite the differences of culture and place, the desire to care for children and willingness to do what is needed is the same. Say a prayer for these men and women and their small charges. Surround them with a light of strength and peace and gratitude, that they may have what they need to care for the children. Remember who cared for you. Bring your attention back to your breath and wait for the images that will come. Even if your childhood was hard, someone cared for you, fed you, saw you, touched you, if only intermittently. It may have been a parent or teacher, an aunt or uncle, or a family friend. Remember the times when your body or heart or soul was fed. And say a prayer of thanks to those who fed you. Let your heart remember what you received and be filled with gratitude. Now follow your breath and turn your attention to those who are afraid they will not be able to feed their children, those in refugee camps and places of war who are watching their children slowly starve to death, the mothers who wait for their sons to come home in the big city ghettos, afraid for their lives in these places of violence, those who have no access to schools or hospitals to ensure their children's minds and bodies will flourish. Feel their dreams for their children. Feel how these dreams are the same as those of all who dream for the children they love. Feel their desperation and how with great courage they do what they can. Say a prayer for these men and women and their children. Surround them with a rainbow of love and strength. Bring your attention back to your breath and your own life. What in your life feeds the children? See how in the way you go about your daily life, the way you are with other people who are not children, the way you care for your home, your community, and the earth, you have an opportunity to contribute to what needs to be done to feed the children and all who are vulnerable. Be aware of how everyone is at times a child, innocent, in need of care, deserving tenderness, vulnerable. Be aware of the non-human children of the planet, the animals, plants and minerals, the air and the water. If you want to, choose to, breathe out your yes, your willingness to do what is needed, to feed all the children, to care for our world, to care for your world, to care for the whole.
As you heard earlier, the theme for the month has been vulnerability. We have considered what vulnerability has to teach us, or better put, how those who are vulnerable can sometimes be our greatest teachers, like the children. We've considered how embracing our imperfections and making ourselves vulnerable is where the creative energy of life is. In fact, for the universe. This week, we will consider caring as a piece of this vulnerability and caring as a factor for stewardship. It was actually very serendipitous, if not outright weird, that I had selected. I was doing some research about care and stewardship and came across an interesting article in Elsevier titled, "A Current Opinion in Environmental Sustainability, Stewardship, Care, and Relational Values." I'm not going to lie. It was a really tough read, kind of boring. I had to read it several times to get past the words and the sentence structures. Any article that uses the terms putative, ontological, and methodological in one sentence really probably doesn't need to be read, but I read it anyway. The title did intrigue me, so I gave it a few passes, and after slogging through, finding some nuggets and letting them sink in, I realized it was perfect for today. It spoke to me, and it speaks to us, so I'm going to share it. Stewardship is a popular term for describing action in pursuit of sustainability. A wise and responsible use of natural resources is another definition. This article speaks directly to how we as humans interact as stewards to the environment, what we think about our place in the environment, and how we actually dwell within this environment. And finally, how we make sense of all of that. What values or ethics do we employ to integrate what we think, how we live, and how we integrate into the larger social systems that we're a part of? Sorry, it's a little boring, but stay with me. Stewardship is at the center of 3 concentric circles, this article says: a circle of knowledge, a circle of agency, and a circle of care, right in the middle of those. But it starts, actually, I'm going to reorder those. Care is the first circle, knowledge, and then agency. Because you don't do anything about anything unless you care about it. Because caring about something gets us to even pay attention or learn about it. If we don't care, we don't spend energy getting to know or understand a thing, a person, a place, a church, a store, a neighborhood. It just is something that's there. There is not action to take about whatever it is. There's no relating to it. There's no relationship with it. So for climate scientists who wrote this article, who want people to engage in stewardship of the earth, they are thinking about it less scientifically and more holistically, thinking about it as an intersection of caring about the environment, knowing what the environment needs, and then acting to take care of the environment. Let's look at a tangible expression of this to kind of make it come alive. If you live and own property in Camp Ellis, I bet you care about climate change, global warming, and beach erosion. Because you care about it, I suspect you stay up on the factors that contributed to it, and you get to know what's going on with it, its predicted impact on the world and on your community. And you may even join an action group. SOS Saco Bay is a new action group that's working in that area to address issues around erosion, to be an agent of change in the community. Residents of Camp Ellis care about that, so they learn about that, so they do something about it. That's what that looks like. That's how you translate that. And at the intersection of their care, knowledge, and agency, they become stewards of their frail community. So those are the concepts and how they translate into real life. The article also talks about ways of knowing. So caring, knowing, acting, but let's look at the knowing. There is the knowing about something, thinking about it from the outside, looking in. Knowing the facts and the stories about it. And following our illustration, I know that there is a beach erosion in Saco. I know that. I know about it. But then I know about it from within because I walk my dog on the beach sometimes. And I know that when it's high tide, there is no beach anymore. So I'm a part of that. My knowledge is not only about it, but it's affecting me. I'm a part of that knowledge. It's embodied knowledge. I am a part of that thing. Then there is the knowledge about something as part of a larger context. So I translate it like this. I know there's beach erosion. It affects me. It directly impacts my people. And at that next level, I know it's affecting people all over Maine and all over the world. So I care, I know, and I see what's happening, and I act, hopefully. Right? Hopefully we act. So let's think about stewardship in the context of this church. Of course we know about this church. We know each other. We know the walls. We know that the furnace breaks. But we care about each other because here we are. We sing in the choir. We listen to Paul play the organ. We see each other in fellowship. We're even going to eat together today. We worship, we talk, we sing, we dine, we disagree, we serve together. It is embodied knowing, feeling it in your bones or your stomach. We know about the broken furnace because some of us were cold at the Vespers service a couple weeks ago. We embody that. Or some of us hear the circulating pump, I think that's what broke, vibrate while we're in the office doing our work, right, Brian? We act, some of us, to meet the workers who come and fix, or we write the checks. That's a lot of knowing. That's a lot of knowing from within. That does not include all the ways we know each other. So we care, we know, and then we act as agents to change and take care and nourish people in the community. We care, we know, we act. At the intersection of those is stewardship, with a lowercase s and a capital S. That's the crux of the Oriah Mountain Dreamer meditation. It talks about feeding the children, but the children is a metaphor for everything. We feed. How do we take care? How do we work? How do we know about people in foreign lands who are suffering? We care first. And we do care. You care about children, you understand what it is to feed a child, or care about something and you act and care for it. You provide ongoing care, stewardship. And let's substitute UUCSB for that child. We know it, we care, and we can make a difference here. We can level up and translate what we do here, what the love is in these four walls to the larger cultural context for which we are a part. How are we known as a part of our larger social context? We know ourselves as a part of the community, state, country, world, planet. We live out those relationships through our values, ethics, principles. We open our doors during a cold snap. We shovel our walkway so the mailman can get to us and he doesn't fall. We actively consider our environmental footprint to make modifications and to be better stewards of our land. We know ourselves beyond these four walls and recognize that we are dwellers in a space larger than this. In a broader sense, we are a liberal religion in an unchurched state in which church growth is predominantly in large evangelical churches. Churches in Saco are shrinking. Older homeowners are struggling with taxes and heating oils. Younger folks can't find affordable housing. Poorer folks can't find housing at all. We have amazing, committed people doing work in the community to address those issues, committed to caring for the larger community and the community at large, committed to caring for the vulnerable, just as we are. I applied the relational approach that I spoke to earlier, used to speak about environmental sustainability, to think about our geography and our church community. I want to level up again, up a moment to consider stewardship in our larger culture by weaving the 8th principle into this discussion about stewardship. Because we talked about the church, we talked about the community, let's talk about the bigger picture. We are not just bystanders looking at racism, because the 8th principle is about being intentionally anti-oppressive. It affects where people live. It affects who has access to housing, food, safety, free society. We recognize that we are embedded in this issue. We learn about racism and then learn about what it has meant to this church's history, this community's history, to the time when we did not own this land. And by the way, we still don't own this literally and figuratively. This whole thing that we say at the beginning of the service is missing a word. We proclaim that our church sits on the land of the Wabanaki Confederation, but let's pay attention to the fact that it is unceded land of the Wabanaki Confederation. I heard that term recently when I was on a call with some people, and a gentleman introduced himself as a member of the Penobscot Nation from the unceded land of Augusta, who had suffered from generational trauma because of the schools that were in place, and he named everything that he was. And when he said the unceded land of the Wabanaki, I thought, we need to change our book, because we're sitting on this land, but it was never, ever given to us. And we know this. We are a part of this, and this is a part of us and who we are, and we can act. We have agency when we care, and we learn we can act. The 8th principle invites us to learn as embodied participants in oppression so that we can then translate our knowledge and experience into agency. We become agents of change. intentionally anti-racist. We have talked a bit about climate justice or injustice. The people who are oppressed are the ones on the front line of climate catastrophe and often lack the means to move or start over, so they're in peril on many levels. Knowing about racism, knowing it is from within our context, and knowing it is from our relationship to our communities, we can become stewards of communities that support and honor all people. We can be agents of change on a broader level that takes, for instance, a look at the environment through the lens of those who are most impacted by climate change and use our principles, to approach these issues through the lens of justice, equity, and compassion for all people. This wonderful community lives and breathes stewardship. Time, talents, gifts. Sometimes our needs outpace our time, talents, and gifts. We recognize that. But we stand at the threshold of what comes next. Our needle is threaded and will weave our principles through the circles of care, knowledge, and agency. It'll weave us into stewardship, especially through the intersection of these three. Stewardship in our church, in our community, in our society, as a result of us, maybe, not shying away from these tough truths. Maybe. I have said this before, but I'll say it again, it bears repeating. We have what the world needs in this church. Wouldn't it be great if the world, or at least a bunch of people, came through those doors to get it? That would be great. Some have. Many have. That's great. We hope they bring friends and neighbors. We invite people from the community, the organizations, to speak with us, to learn what we're doing and learn about what they're doing. We have their eyes look at us from the inside out. They may become dialogue partners about new possibilities when they get to know us a bit better in our liberal church with Black Lives Matter sign on our wall. Just seeing that on the outside of the building says something about us. They know something about us. We have invited some people who were cold in to get warm. We invited some people who wanted to help them, who have never been to Saco, have never even been to this church, people from all around the state, people on Facebook who would have never found their way to our door, some of which we are still in communication with about offering space to an LGBTQ community center because they have nowhere to be. We've invited people from other churches in, sparking conversations about resource sharing. We've invited people from the police and fire and emergency management agencies to help us think about our own safety, but the possibilities for the space to help other people. The exciting part is, who can we invite next? Who will come? Having what the world needs also means we should be sharing it outside of these four walls, tangibly. I know we do that by sharing the plate, and I know many of you are doing a lot of great work outside of these four walls. As a community, how can we mobilize as a community? How can we increase our knowledge and translate that into action and agency as stewards of our church, community, environment, and our democracy, which could use some stewarding right now? Our community is small, but it's growing. Our building is old, but it's well cared for. It's kind of interesting, this is kind of a side note. I think about how many times I've heard people say, we don't own the land under it, so we can't sell it. And then to think about the fact that none of us own this land anyway. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? It's very interesting. We need to continue to cultivate our passion to meet the world's needs in this moment. Part of that means looking at ourselves honestly, talking about our hopes and dreams, encouraging out-of-the-box thinking, and engaging in extravagant hospitality. If we can mobilize a 52-hour shelter in 24 hours, we can do many, many things. Many things. It starts with inventorying where we are, who we are, and why we are. See how in the way you go about your daily life, the way you are with others, the way you care for your home, your community, the earth, You have an opportunity to contribute to the needs, what needs to be done, so says Araya Mountain Dreamer, to feed the children. And we are the children. Although I take that to mean the literal children and creation in general, we need to think about and imagine who we want to become. What do we stand for literally and figuratively beyond our principles? Or how do we translate those? How do we live out our values in 2023 and beyond? How will we contribute to what needs to be done? I think that this next year is about those questions, and to me it's really exciting. The caring, the learning, the wondering together, the imagining, the beginning. When we care, we wrestle with these hard questions. When we care, we hope. When we care, we have faith that what we have done will make a difference. When we care, we do make a difference. If you want to, again, as Donna said before, if you want to, if you choose to, close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath in. And breathe out your yes and your willingness to do what is needed to feed our future, to care for our vulnerable, to do what is needed to feed all the children, and to care for the world. Breathe out your yes to care and nurture this church. May it be so.
On a slightly more concrete level, when we gather together as a community, we bring the gifts of ourselves, our hearts and spirits, our time and energy, our talents and skills to support the work of this church here within our walls and out in the larger community. We also bring our gift of generosity, giving of what we have, so that the work of this church may continue. As always, half our offering today will be sent out into the larger community to support the work of an agency or organization that is making a difference in our world. This month, we are sharing our offering with age-friendly Saco. If you are watching from home on YouTube, donations may be made by clicking the PayPal link in the video description, or checks may be mailed to UUCSB, 60 School Street, Saco 04072. Please be generous as the ushers collect this morning's offering.
Please remain standing and join me in singing hymn number 108. Now, as we leave this place, doing what we can do, caring for who we can care for, doing our share, caring for this church, doing our part, caring for our community, may we go out into the world renewed with joy and thanksgiving for spending this time together. Go in peace, so be it.
May we shine a light of peace.